Hey y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show, the first and only podcast dedicated to all things night vision, thermal optics, hunting after dark. If there's something that you can do legally hunting, I think Hans likes to say that. If you can do it legally while hunting in the fields, in the woods, with thermal or night vision, after dark, we're going to talk about it on this show. And we are glad to have y'all back. My name is Jason Robertson. I'm the owner of Outdoor Legacy and a co-host, one half of the show, the smaller half of the show. Hans is he's at least 8 inches taller than me, so he's the bigger half. But as always, I've got my co-host Hans from the Hans East Texas YouTube channel. What is going on tonight, buddy?
Man, it's good to be back. It's good to be back in the saddle for another week. Episode 271. We are going to be jumping right into a very anticipated review. This is the Pulsar Thermion Duo DXP55. Pulsar, as y'all know, are famous for how long their names and models are for the scopes, and it just keeps getting longer and longer. But we're just calling it the Duo DXP55 from here on out. But we've got a good review. We've taken a couple weeks off from our normally scheduled programming, and that's where we typically do review after review. Had a couple topic shows. It's good to be back and reviewing this scope, Jason, because right in time, if you're watching this video right now or listening, right when it comes out, it is towards the middle of July 2023, and everybody's getting primed up and ready for fall, for deer hunting season. And I think that this scope is one, if you're looking to do that, if you're wanting to get out and do some early hunting and wanting to get out and do some pre-gaming before deer season and during deer season, this is a review that you definitely need to hang on, check out, and see. But Jason, as always, it's going to go into the specs. We got a lot of videos to show y'all. Thankfully, Jason had some hogs and deer out running around while I was fooling around doing something else. I don't know. I was probably messing with another scope, but had a chance to use this one as well. But he was the one that got a lot of great video with it. So we'll give him kudos for that. We don't give him kudos very often. I'm glad to finally
get a little credit.
I know, because I've been getting a lot of video lately, and you kind of beat me to it. But we both we've had these scopes for several weeks, probably if not longer than weeks, probably months.
Yeah, longer than that. Yeah.
But we've been having a chance to play with it, putting it beside the regular Duo DXP50. And we're going. First of all, Jason, let's talk about the difference between the two. I think that's what most people want to tune in and watch on this review is what is the difference between the Duo DXP50 and the DXP55?
So this is going to be simple. I always take simple things and explain them in too much detail, so I'll probably do that here. But essentially the DXP50 and the DXP55. Both of these, let's talk about the thermal aspect first. Number one, the scope in fit, function, form, the way they look, the way they operate, both of these are 100% identical. They're also 100% identical to the current Pulsar Thermion 2 XP50 Pro. All right, so that is a 2-power base magnification thermal scope for $49.99. right at $5,000. The DXP50 and the DXP55 have the exact same internals, magnification, image quality, features, function as the XP50 Pro. All right, so we've got that part. So the DXP50 and the DXP55 are both 2-power thermal, just like your XP50 Pro. But what these have, what gives them the D versus the regular Thermion 2 XP50 Pro, is these have digital night vision capabilities as well. Actually, the word that Pulsar is using for this is multi-spectral. So that's a big word, but the best I can tell is there's 2 different spectrums. You've got the spectrum of thermal and the digital night vision, and I'm calling this digital night vision. That is a mistake. That is digital day vision. I said digital night vision. I want to apologize. We'll explain that further in here. But again, digital day vision, as I should say, full color day vision. The DXP50, the day vision sensor, is a I'm sorry, not the sensor, the lens offers you a 2-power base magnification with digital zoom. So it matches your thermal. It is 2 power. All right. The DXP55 offers a day vision function with a 4-power base magnification. So the thermal's still 2, the digital is 4 on the XP55. I feel like after all of that, I've probably confused everybody more than they already were. So I'm just going to try to say it one more time, more simple. Both of them have a 2-power thermal lens in them. The DXP50 has a 2-power digital daytime vision lens. The DXP55 has a 4-power daytime digital vision lens. Also, the price difference, this unit is $59.99, the DXP55, and the DXP50 is $57.99. So there's just a couple $100 difference if you want to go from the 2-power to the 4-power. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. I actually asked this question to Pulsar. I said, hey, it's $200 between these. Is there really any cost difference in making these a 2 versus a 4? I mean, this is, come on, guys, it can't be. And this was off the record behind the scenes, and they said there really is a difference between these two in the manufacturing. There is a cost difference. They said it really is there, and they said we really wish that wasn't, but there really is a price difference. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny. I always like to ask, like, is there really a difference? It's so close, it looks the same, but there is a small difference. So again. Those are your two options there, the DXP50 or the DXP55. We're going to talk about this more in who it's good for. While this isn't a, quote, comparison show, it's kind of going to be because they're the same, all right? All but this digital day vision. So anyway, Hans and I will get into that a little bit more, and we'll talk about towards the end of the show who it is good for. Which should you get, the DXP50 or the DXP55? Also, I was going to say one more thing, Hans, I'll let you. I was just going to say, keep watching this show because we are going to have a lot of footage from this unit, both daytime and nighttime, so that you can see what the thermal and the daytime full color vision look like.
I'm just trying to jump in here and pay some bills, man. I know if you've heard that and the comparison, you're still confused and wanting to know what is right for you, give us a call. OutdoorLegacyGear.com is the website. Give us a call at 877-350-1818. You can talk to me, Jason, Ashley. Either one of us can take your call and answer your questions and make sure that you are in the right scope, whether it's one of these two Pulsar models or another Pulsar model. We can make sure that we can find the right optic that's based on your application. 877-350-1818. All right, all the bankers are happy now that we did that.
Well,
all
they'll
the,
be people. Hans is right. We want your business. We want to talk to you. We want to help you. If you're going to buy a scope, we want to show you that we're the dealer for that. We're out here making these shows for everybody to enjoy. But if you give us a call, we would love to do business with you and show you the customer service that we offer you.
Yeah.
And that does help pay the bills because this show does not go on if people don't buy from us. So that's what this show is about.
Exactly. So there's a podcast, and real quick, that before we get into specs and videos and all this stuff, there's a podcast that I've been watching lately, and they get a lot of donations from a service called Patreon. And it's basically you're just giving money. Just say, hey, I'm entertained. Thank you for doing what you do. Here's some money. Really, y'all, we don't need that. We just want your business. If you're going to buy a scope, if you're in the market for a scope, we want your business. We want to earn your business. And we're not just asking for a handout just because you like the show. We want to serve you. And the way that we serve you is by making these videos, putting in the work, putting in the time, getting you in the right scope, and offering support after the sale. So anyway, Jason,
Bingo.
take it away with the with the specs.
Pulsar Thermion Duo DXP55. Here we go again. The price is $59.99.97. That is 3 cents shy of $6,000. It is a 640 by 480 17 micron thermal sensor. Okay. The digital channel, as mentioned, is full color, and I apologize for having digital night vision. We'll talk about that. There is no night vision capabilities in this. There's thermal, and there's the digital daytime vision, full color, 4K resolution, 3840 by 2160 on that full color digital vision. It has an AMOLED display of 1024 by 768 resolution. It's a 50 hertz refresh rate. The thermal channel has a sub 25 millikelvin NETD rating. What does that mean? That means it's a very sensitive sensor that gives you a good image quality, and it performs very, very well in high humidity, rain, high dew point, poor conditions. We'll talk about more about that a little bit later in our discussion about it. Again, we've already talked about this, but I want to go over it again. The thermal portion of the DXP55 is a 2 power. It does have digital zoom, and it goes up to 16 power. The digital daytime portion is a 4 power, and it has digital zoom, and it goes up to 32 power. The field of view on the thermal channel is 65 feet horizontally at 100 yards. The field of view on the digital daytime portion is 32 feet at 100 yards. Thermal detection range, according to Pulsar, is 1,800 yards. The thermal ID range, identifying something like a hog or a coyote, a small to medium-sized animal, something bigger than a coon or a possum, but smaller than a cow or an elk or maybe even a deer. So just, again, hogs, coyotes, kind of the logical thing, bigger cats. You're going to be looking, this is our opinion, conservative 400 yards in less than ideal conditions. When you get out there in the really good conditions, drier weather, nice, clear, crisp night, I think 600 plus yards is doable. Large animals could be further than that. I mean, cows, elk, deer, moose, whatever, long, long ways. But I think 400 to 600 yards is just a safe, reasonable, conservative, range that you can identify animals. Battery life. Okay, this is something that we do. We spend a lot of time doing these battery tests, guys. Nobody wants to do these. And when I say nobody, I mean no one in our organization wants to do these. Hans, Ashley, myself, they're not fun. We all do them. We take turns. It's one really good thing about having Ashley on our team now is he gets to be the battery guy a lot of the times, and he does them for us without complaining. That's something that I can't say for Hans or I. But
I'm a total diva about it. I hate doing it.
Oh, he's total. He'll take the trash out. He does not want to do a battery test. So, all right, here's what we got. Battery life on the internal non-removable battery. And Hans will talk about a little more about the batteries, but for those that don't know, there is an internal non-removable but rechargeable battery. You plug the scope in USB and charge it. So on our bench test, which just means turning the scope on, letting it sit there in our office and letting it run down, we got 4 hours and 20 minutes. On the removable battery, so that's called an APS2, that is a proprietary battery pack. It comes with the scope. They run about $79. You can buy spares. That battery got about 1 hour and a little over 1 hour and 30 minutes. All right. So you can also buy an APS3 for about $99, and that's going to get you an extended runtime, longer than that hour and a half. You probably get over 2 hours with that for a little bit more. Now, I know the first thing or some of y'all are going to say, oh my gosh, this unit is getting, 5 hours and 45 minutes on a bench test. I'm probably going to get less than that in cold weather. I'm probably going to get less than that, in the field when I'm recording, maybe using Wi-Fi doing. That's true. And they go, well, people say, wait a minute. I know that the new Thermion Pros are getting way better than that. What's going on? Well, we talked to our good buddy, Ludus, over at Pulsar in Europe. He is with the factory, and Ludus told us that the reason for this lower battery life is because it is running both the digital day vision and the thermal channels, both of those sensors at the exact same time, 100% of the time. And I know you're going to immediately say, well, wait a minute, that's stupid. Why didn't they just have a switch and I could turn one off or one or the other? We're going to get to that. We're going to talk about some of the features with picture-in-picture and switching back and forth, what you can do, hot swapping between the two, using the two at the same time. So we're going to talk about that. But that is why that battery life is lower than just like the regular Thermion 2 XP50 Pro. It's got both sensors running at the exact same time. Moving along, talking about some of the features, it does have picture-in-picture. It's got on the thermal side all the normal color palettes, a whole bunch more than you even need, but Pulsar sticks them in there for you. Reticle options, guys. If you are a diva, as Hans just used that word, about your reticles, you better buy a Pulsar. They've got more reticle options by far, over double, I think, anybody else. There is so many reticle options. If you can't find one that you like, then you're probably just too picky. And but seriously, there is a ton. Reticle colors, same thing. They've got a bunch of reticle colors. Don't worry. There's standard reticles, just normal reticles, and there's black and white reticles, and there's white hot and black hot. If you just want it simple, they've got it. But if you want to liven it up a little bit, they've got all those options as well. A recoil rating, gosh, one of the highest recoil ratings in the industry. Pulsar says you can put this thing on a 375 H&H or a 12 gauge shotgun. That's the real deal, guys. Most manufacturers do not recommend anything over, say, a 308 or a 7 mag, and they say no shotguns, but Pulsar says go for it. Has a fully waterproof IPS 6.7 rating. That means it is fully submersible to 3 foot of water for 30 minutes and fully dust proof. Temperature rating down to negative 13 degrees. That is really, really cold. I don't know what happens after that, but I'm going home. So negative 13 is where that thing is. Before that. I don't know why this matters. Hans, when he makes my specs, Hans always puts this in here, but he's got like the top end. It says up to 122. Well, I'm going to tell you something else too. I'm going home before it's 122. So I don't think that matters either. But I think I think at 124 the scope starts melting. I don't know, but So anyway, unit weighs about 34 ounces with the batteries in it. Does have the Pulsar USA 3-year warranty. Great guys right here in Texas. Excellent customer service. So we always love to deal with Pulsar. Now, we've got some, well, you know what? You've got some notes here that we need to talk about, and we'll talk about some of those in our further discussion. But Hans, I'm going to let you go ahead and jump into the walk around because we got a lot to talk about. And I know we're kind of going long on time already.
Yeah. Let's talk about what's in the bag. Let's do a quick walk around of the scope. I mean, if you've seen the previous Duo review, it's going to look very similar. It's going to look very similar to the other Thermion reviews. As always, it does come with a rubber eye cup. I don't have it on mine. I don't use it on the Thermions. Don't really feel like I need it, but it's there if you like to have it. It does have a battery cap extender for an APS-3 battery that is not included. So if you want to purchase an APS-3 battery for that extender, you can get that from us, from your dealer, from Outdoor Legacy. You can get that the longer, bigger battery. It does come with an APS-2 battery. That is the removable battery that goes in the top of the scope. Also a charging stand that you can charge it separately from the scope. You can always charge both batteries by plugging the whole scope into the wall, but you can also have this charging base if you have extra batteries that you want to charge while you're doing that, and a wall plug and a USB-C cord comes with it. So everything that's what you need in the bag comes with it, other than a mount. So this mount that's on it, as y'all know, we use the American Defense Manufacturing Recon 30 millimeter quick release mount, 2 throw-over quick release mount. That's what's on this scope right now. And then we do sell that on the store. OutdoorLegacyGear.com is where you can find that. Or if you call in, just say, I want the mount that y'all use that goes with the Thermion, and we'll know exactly what you're talking about. It's really the only ones that we sell other than a few others. But so here's a walk around of the scope. You've got your 50 millimeter objective lens with a spring-loaded plastic, I would say plastic, probably something nicer than that, lens cap up at the top. So where you see that little, looks like a shark fin on top, that is the digital daytime camera. So there's a switch right here on top that you move over. When you move over, it opens that lens cover. So to protect the lens, it does have a cover that you can flip back and forth to make sure that it's protected. You've got your buttons right here on top. By the eyepiece, it is a dual focus, so the focus is a little bit different on these. It's a ambidextrous design. Objective lens focuses on either side, and it's got a dial that you can turn real easy, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. On the eyepiece, it does have just that rubber grommet around the eyepiece that focuses the eyepiece diopter. With the buttons on top, your power button, your record button. I'm sorry, not the power button. Power button's right here. But it's got your record button, magnification button, and your where you switch it to daytime and nighttime mode is right there. This is turret on top is where your extra battery goes, or your removable battery. You've got your USB-C plug under this cap right here, and your menu button and turn dial is on the side, just like all the other Thermions. The only real difference is the digital daytime camera on top and the focus adjustments on either side. Jason, I think that's it, man.
Okay, so before we jump into anything else, I want to just talk real quick about a couple things that you just need to know. Important notes about the optic, things that you may not be used to. So because there are two different imaging sensors, one thermal, one digital day vision, they have to be zeroed separately. It's not hard. You've just got to zero it twice. And that's just the way that it works. I mean, you just zero it the first time with your thermal. And what's really cool, Pulsar was smart enough that when you go to save that, it immediately says, do you want to zero your daytime? Yeah. And you can say yes or no. You can choose not to, if for whatever reason. But yeah, I want to do that. It's warning you, hey, you didn't do it. And so you go ahead and do that.
And people wonder why, if you zero it once, why is it not good for both sides, or both, daytime and nighttime? Well, like we talked about in the beginning, there's two separate channels. You got the daytime.
It's essentially
channel.
Two scopes in one.
It is. That is, it's got that digital daytime camera and two separate channels that do. And like Jason said, it'll prompt you once you finish the thermal sight in. It'll say, do you want to sight in the daytime now? And so it does remind you. There's not really a way to not remember to do it because it's in the menu and it'll ask you to do it. But you do have to zero both channels, daytime and nighttime. Yeah. Don't forget to do it.
And it's funny, I'm not guaranteeing this is the way it's going to be for you, but when I zeroed mine, I zeroed the thermal, got her locked and loaded. Do you want to zero the daytime? Yes. I clicked yes. I shot it, and it was 4 inches high, dead center. And I thought, well, that makes sense because that daytime is sitting right on top of the other lens. And I was like, that's funny. All I did was bring it straight down and it was good to go. So anyway, not promising yours is going to be right there, but it was super easy. Okay, another quick thing. I think by this point, Hans has probably already showed a lot of the video, and what you've probably seen is some crazy stuff going on with switching back and forth between the daytime and the thermal. And what you can do is I'm going to call it hot swap. I don't know what they're going to call it, but you press this button there that Hans showed you on the back, and you can literally instantly go from daytime to nighttime, daytime to thermal, back and forth. Then you can press your picture-in-picture, and you can bring up your picture-in-picture in the opposite of whatever you're currently using. So let's just say, your big screen, you're using daytime. You can turn on the picture-in-picture and have it in thermal, or vice versa. Or you can have daytime in the picture-in-picture, or thermal. So every combination of that you can have. It's very simple. It's very easy to do. It is literally, you don't go into menus, you don't click any dials. It's all done on the buttons there on the back. I switched that thing around like crazy playing with it. I think what you probably saw in some of those videos, depending on which one or ones Hans used, I had some pretty good videos that actually showed, like, I know one was a hog that was going into daytime, going into the woods. Another was, I don't know if he used this one, it was a coyote. It was really quick. I caught it at the last second, going in to the woods. Same thing. When those animals crossed my barbed wire fence there at the woods. Daytime, you lose them. They're gone.
Yeah.
You flip on the thermal and you can still see them in there. I mean, you can, it is crazy. And so that, again, we'll get into that. That's where some of this using these at the same time is going to be very beneficial to a daytime hunter. Now at night, it's not going to do you any good at all. There's no reason at nighttime because it's day vision. It's not digital night vision. So let's roll into that here real quick. These units do not have any type of IR illuminator, and they do not have an IR filter on the daytime portion. That's why it's not night vision. So don't think, oh, well, I can just go take my IR illuminator and flip it on and the scope's going to see it. I've already tried it just because I knew somebody was going to ask. It does not work. There is no IR filter built into this. They are day vision only. The other thing is that lens on the daytime portion is very small. It's a small lens. That is not going to collect light in that last 10 minutes, that critical time. So if you're, that's why you buy, a $1,200 daytime scope or something, and you're out there, trying to get every last minute. This is not going to do that. Now, the thermal will work perfectly, but once you get into those last minutes of daylight, the daytime portion is just not going to be sensitive enough to pick that up. So first few minutes, last few minutes, you're going to be working off thermal for that. So just so you know that. And again, at night, you're going to have to use the thermal portion. Now, I think that's everything. I want to roll right into this because I think this is an easy transition. We always like to talk about our likes and our dislikes. So let's talk about some dislikes, get those out of the way. And I think this would be one dislike. I mean, if I could build the perfect scope, I would build this scope and it would, number one, work really, really well and very, very low light. I'm not saying that's even reasonable to do on this platform without putting another big 50 millimeter objective lens, but I can wish, right?
Do you think it would be better if they did that or because I guess it would make it a true daytime, but added a little IR light that was built in as well and an IR filter? Do you think that would make the scope even better?
Yes, so that would be something I would like to see in the future is an IR filter with, then I could, attach an IR light to it. But I will say that for, and this is a whole nother kit and caboodle because I don't know everybody's laws. There's going to be some guys that legally cannot use this even in the daytime. All right?
I'm glad that you brought that up. Yeah, because you definitely need to check the laws where you are in your state, because even though you might be deer hunting and you're using the daytime channel and all that, it's illegal in some states to even have a thermal with you while you're out in the field hunting.
That's right.
It's not illegal for you to own it or to buy it, but for you to take it out with and hunting with it,
in some states.
Yeah, not all states, just some.
Not all states. I would say most states it's not, but there are some states that is. Here in Texas, we can do whatever we want. There's no issues there, but that is something to be concerned about that you just need to look into, because you could be out hunting at 11 o'clock during the day and there be some reason that, your game laws don't allow you to use thermal or even have it. So just look into that. So I was going to say, I would love to have it be digital night vision as well, but there's going to be a lot of states that say, even if it's still daylight, when you flip that over, now you're using illumination to hunt. So that gets really tricky as well. So I don't know. It would be nice to have it. I think it'd be cool, but I really don't know legally, even getting into some of the more, states that allow a lot. Once you flip that over to digital night vision, I don't know exactly what's going to happen there. So, there's a couple things, very, very minor. Obviously, we would love to see the same battery life as the Thermion Duo DXP50, but obviously we're running twice the amount of stuff that one is. So there's kind of this, I wish that I had the gas mileage that the little Honda Accord does, but I drive a 1-ton dually. And so you've sometimes got to make these, choices. And I've had a couple guys say, well, I'd buy it, but I ain't buying it for that bad battery life. Well, I totally understand. but again, if you need a 1-ton, you're not going to
Yeah.
get the little bitty electric car gas mileage. So you've got to kind of figure out what you need. So battery life would be obviously, I'd like to see that. But no, I think that's it for me and my
Yeah.
likes. I'm going to let you go on. I got a big long list there. You got anything else on the dislikes?
No, nothing else on dislikes that we talked about. I mean, just the things that you brought up, I think, are the main things. You need to find out if this is the right scope for you, meaning it fits your application, and this is the style of scope, depending on, the tube style design of scope, and especially with this American Defense mount, really it mounts comfortably on a bolt action rifle or an AR style rifle. You're going to be able to get good eye relief on either. So I wouldn't worry about that. But as far as the likes and us jumping into it, I'll just say this, and I'll let you go into your big long spiel. But as we went through SHOT Show, and we were almost at the 6-month mark from SHOT Show 2023, which was at the end of January in Las Vegas. The Duo was one of the most anticipated scopes that was talked about and called about from a lot of customers that were wanting to know when it was going to come out, the reviews of it. There are a lot of you out there that want to be able to take one scope out in the field on a hunting trip. You want to go, you're like, man, I got a great weekend coming up. We're going out to the lease and we're going to be filling deer feeders. We're going to do a little hunting before deer season. I want to be able to shoot coyotes during the day and shoot pigs at night, or if it's deer season and you want to shoot deer during the day and shoot hogs at night, this is a scope that you throw in your bag, or you throw in your rifle bag or your hard case, and it's the only scope you got to take. And that's what's nice. The popularity of night hunting, of thermal hunting, is exploded. But it's exploded because all of the daytime hunters have jumped on board with it, whether for fun or for a purpose. But this is a true one optic with many different purposes, where you can hunt day and night. There have been some in the past. Well, Pulsar did one, that they were trying to do for a while. It was more of a, the thermal and the night vision mode. They called it the Fusion, and you remember that, but it wasn't.
That was a handheld though.
That was a handheld. It wasn't a scope, and it really wasn't a true daytime optic. But this is something that for all of you that consider yourself more of a daytime hunter and a part-time, nighttime hunter, that you want to hunt with something during the day and do it with this digital scope and then take it out at night. This is the right choice for you. I mean, this is a great scope. And it works well. It's well built. It's a Pulsar item. And we've talked high about them. So that there's a lot of attention to detail. Just, looking at it with the ambidextrous focus adjustment knobs on either side. The fact that you have a shutter. We take a lot of this for granted, Jason, when we review these optics, but the design that goes into just this little switch from opening and closing the cover on the little daytime camera. I mean, think about what's involved in making that and making it work. It's just, we overlook it, but there's a lot of hard work going on by a lot of manufacturers, and Pulsar definitely being a part of that with this scope, that they are moving this industry forward with the innovation that they're doing. A funny story that we talked about in the last review of the Duo, the DXP50, when we first got them out of the box and you were taking it out, you were taking it out and you're like, man, I can't get the daytime mode to work. I don't know what's going on, what's happening. And the switch on top, Jason, I don't think you opened it all the way, or you didn't know it had to be open.
Cover,
yeah, the little lens cover, he had it like maybe barely open, and it wasn't seeing. It wouldn't be able to see.
I had no idea. Hans called me and told me he opened his box first, and he was like, because we had demos of these things straight from Pulsar, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, it's amazing! It looks fantastic, full color 4K." He's going on and on. I go rip my box open, run outside, and I can't see anything. I mean, like I could just see this tiny little bit, and it looked terrible, and it was grainy, and it's full color out. I mean, full daylight outside. And I'm like, what's going on? Mine's no good. And I'm like, are
Yeah.
you sure? Yeah. Anyway, he's finally, I don't know how it came up. Something about that opening that lens. I'm like, what do you
Yeah.
mean lens? You know?
But just the small little the spring loaded lens cover, for the thermal
Yeah.
objective lens. There's just a lot of things in here that just make this a quality build. And like I said,
Yeah.
the Pulsar fit and finish, and that's probably one of your likes, but something that's going to work very well for you.
So a couple things I want to bring up. One, we're talking so much about this daytime portion, and guys, what I just can't stress enough is the thermal nighttime image is just an XP50 Pro. So if you're like, okay, I think I'm getting it, it's really cool during the daylight, you really ought to go watch our Pulsar Thermion 2 XP50 Pro review. Hans, you can probably look that up while we're sitting here telling what episode number that is. But you ought to go watch that because it's the same scope. This one just has the cherry on top, and the cherry on top is the daytime portion. So the nighttime image is fantastic and something that Pulsar needs to get credit for. That is such an improvement of where they've come from in the past. Is I believe they have. Man, I mean, I'm going to say this. I'm going to take it down a notch. I'm going to say some of the absolute best, if not the best, poor condition, high humidity image quality that you're going to find on the market today with these Pro model sensors. It is fantastic. Where Pulsar was not known 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago for, fantastic nighttime. I say nighttime. I'm sorry. Rain, high humidity image. Because every thermal, thermal sensor struggles.
Yeah, we were talking about this today, and I'm not going to name any names, but you're like, man, because it's been really humid down here in East Texas right now. We've had rain, and I know Jason hasn't had a lot of rain, but it's still humid. And he said, man, I took this XYZ scope out and it just did not look great. And he said, man, when did Pulsar leapfrog all of these companies? Because it used to be, this company was better than this company during the night, in high humidity. And it seems like Pulsar with that Pro sensor has kind of just leapfrogged everybody.
I took this unit out, this DXP55, after looking through a couple optics that cost more than this from other manufacturers, and just 2 nights ago, it would kind of drizzle a little bit of rain. So it was just enough to make it even more humid. We didn't get any real rain out of it. Nasty. And I was like, this image is not great. I literally picked up my DXP55 and I went, wow, my gosh, this blows these out of the water. So yeah, Pulsar needs to get the credit where the credit is due. And you know what I hope? I'm going to say this. This is a Pulsar show, but I hope Pulsar gets leapfrogged again. Because you know what? I know Pulsar. They're gonna come clawing back, and it's going to get better, so we all win. That's what happens. Yeah. And for absolute, right now, Pulsar is winning. They're doing a dang good job. So really like that image quality, both day and night. One thing I saw, I want to bring this up. Pulsar themselves put out a video that showed the one of the European distributors or dealers had put a side-by-side video of the DXP50 and the DXP55 in the daytime, and the color was very, very different on those two. Yeah, I didn't understand it, but I'm going to tell you this. I've got both the DXP50 and the DXP55 because I can't decide which one I like more. We're going to have to John's, we're fixing to run out of time, but we're going to go long. But with that said, I've run them one on one eye, one on the other. I did not see any difference in the color or the image quality between the two. Granted, there could be just a variation between two optics. I mean, that's always possible. But I'm just going to say I saw no difference whatsoever there.
I saw that the 4-power looked like a deeper color, like maybe more vibrant colors, and the 2-power just looked like brighter.
I haven't seen that in my personal units because like I said, I got both of them sitting here, and so I did put them side by side when I first got them. So anyway, moving on quickly, image quality. I do like the fact, like you said, it's the all-in-one, but also for the value. I understand it's money, guys. I don't like to throw around $1,000 here, $1,000 there like it's not money. It is. But if you're going to buy an XP50 Pro for $5,000, for $5,800 you can buy the DXP50. For $6,000, $1,000 more, you can get this. You're getting two scopes in one. For the guy who says, I just don't want to have to swap scopes, maybe only have one rifle, or this is my favorite rifle, I think this is a way to do both with one optic. And so I mean, I really, really, really like that. Lots of other things I can say. We got to move on. Let's talk about who this is good for, who it's not good for. I think that we need to include in this, Hans, the 2-power versus the the 4-power, the DXP54, the XP55.
This might just be personal experience, but I think a lot of daytime hunters, especially daytime deer hunters, prefer higher base magnification. You can tell because they're used to using 4x scopes or 6x scopes or whatever. I mean, daytime deer hunters like to have, typically, it seems like, a higher base magnification. But in general, what we say, it's kind of tricky because the thermal mode is 2-power on both models. And then you got the choice between the daytime 4x base magnification with the DXP55 and the 2x DXP50. But I think if you're setting up on deer stands or whatever deer hunting you're doing, or whatever type of daytime hunting you're doing, if it's over 100 yards on average, I would go with the 4-power is what I would say. Yes. If it's under 100 yards, I would go with the 2-power. But if you say, you know what, I'm going to use this for deer hunting during the day and I'm going to shoot pigs at night, and during the day my deer stands are set up 100 to 150 yards apart, or from the stand, or I'm shooting big stretches of land. I do see this. I really do see this DXP55 probably being a little bit more popular for true daytime hunters that just want to use this thermal side just for having fun with.
Yeah, and I think the exception to that rule is if you're hunting in the woods, you're not going to want that 4-power. Right. I do not. If you hunt in the woods and you're hunting log roads or log sets or cutovers or well, maybe cutovers, depending on how cutover it is, but you need to be careful because the 4-power can be way too much. I mean, you saw right there, well, here, I can just tell you that's 32-foot field of view on the daytime 4-power, but it's going to be 65-foot on the daytime 2-power. So you're going to get twice the field of view. Again, in the daytime, field of view is not as important as it is at nighttime because you've got a good eye. You can look out there and see where things are at. Where at night, field of view is super important because you can't see anything all. So I think it just depends. I think you're going to know. Most daytime hunters know. They either like really low magnification or it's like, hey, I've got a 3 to 9 and it's cranked up to 7-power all the time. Well, then you ought to buy the 4-power. Don't do that. And unless you're the guy that's maybe got a 3-power and you just leave it on 3-power all the time, then you might consider the 2. The good thing about it is it's less critical, in my opinion, than choosing a thermal magnification because this is 4K and it does allow you to zoom up and maintain the image quality. So I think your definition of who each one is good for is really good. One more quick thing I want to point out. Yeah. That is a little inside baseball. If you haven't seen this, it might confuse you, but once you do, it'll make more sense. So on the DXP50, when you turn on picture-in-picture and you're in the daytime mode, it's 2-power. When you turn on picture-in-picture, it's the little thermal is 2-power. They match. But when you're on the DXP55, and you're in daytime mode, you're at 4-power. When you turn on the picture-in-picture for the thermal, it automatically digitally zooms that up to 4-power. And the reason is it would look really funny to be looking in your big screen at 4-power and your picture-in-picture be at this, much smaller. So it would be odd. And so that's why they did it. And the way I kind of figured it out was I was looking up there at the thermal and in the picture-in-picture, and I thought, well, that looks a little, it's like a little grainy. That's not and then I realized it's at 4 power. They've automatically doubled that, which trust me, it needs to be. That once I've played with it and thought about it, they did the right thing there, but I just wanted to throw that out. So your picture in picture and your main picture will always be the same magnification. However, as Pulsar does allow, you can zoom up picture in picture once you have it enabled. It's turned on. Yeah. You can just start zooming up through that. Anyway, I know it's going to be confusing when you get it in your hands. It will not be, I promise. But
no, so real quick, we referenced the picture image being the same as the Thermion 2 XP50 Pro. You can watch that episode and review episode 217. Seems like a lifetime ago.
217. Yeah,
so
217. So if you want to find that, you can go to whether you're on YouTube or one of the podcast apps. You can go back to the main page. Yeah. Exactly. LateNightVisionShow.com. You can go and scroll through them all. Another way to do it is you can just go, like if you're on YouTube, you can search Late Night Vision Show 217. 270. Type that number out and it'll find it for you. So that's another quick way to do it. All right, guys, we got to wrap this thing up, but here's what I want to say. I'm going to let Hans have the last word here, but I'm going to say that I think you can tell we're excited about this, and we really are. This is not fake enthusiasm. I think the hardest thing is going to be deciding whether we want the DXP50 or the XP55 even for ourselves, because we do a lot of both. We do a lot of hunting in the woods. I mean, Hans gets down there up amongst them, 20, 30 yards away from some of his feeders, but also sometimes gets out in big fields. I do the same thing. And so, again, I can see both sides of it. But if I'm going in the woods, I'm probably going to go with the DXP50. But if I'm going to be out in those big fields, the DXP55. But fabulous unit. It is a 2-in-1. I think, and I said this about the DXP50, I'm going to say it about this unit. This is where the future is going. We're going to have 2 units in one more and more as we go down over the next, 5 years. I think we're going to see this. And when we're talking about 4K sensors, this daytime portion is not junk. Okay. It's not a grainy little image. It's a beautiful image. It looks really, really good. The videos you're watching don't do it justice. I mean, you can count tines on a buck out there. It's legit. It's the real deal. And again, I think this is the way of the future. I think if this was, cell phone video from 10 years ago, okay, maybe not. But where we're at now, I think it's legit, and I think more and more hunters are going to start adopting this because they can have one rifle, one scope, and go to the deer stand.
I can tell you one thing, that come November of this year, Jason and I will both have a Duo mounted on a deer rifle. I promise you that. So if you
already got one now.
Yeah, so do I. If you are interested in the Duo or any other Pulsar products, or if you just want to talk about what thermal scope is right for you, we do a lot of reviews, y'all. We do hunts. We use all this stuff so that when you call, we can give you the advice and give you a choice. We're not going to tell you, hey, you got to buy this one, but we're going to talk about 2 or 3 different models that you can choose from. That might be the difference in price or application, but we're going to nail it down and get to what's going to be the right choice or close to the right choice for you. So 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacygear.com. You can call and talk to me, Jason, or Ashley. We'd love to get your business. If you want to find out more about the past episodes that we've kind of talked about here, a great place and a great resource is what Jason said on YouTube. You can find and search very easily. You can find all of our past episodes on the latenightVisionShow.com. Also keep up with socials on the Instagram and on the Facebook.
the Instagram.
Right. The latenightVisionShow.com. Hey, y'all, people, we're getting a lot of, Jason, you probably heard it too, a lot of positive feedback about the 2-Minute Tuesdays. People are really liking it. They like the fact that they know what's coming up, but it's important for y'all to watch it. I'm going to tell you, we're not just talking about the show topic for the next Thursday. We're talking about specials and deals that are going on that aren't, there might be another manufacturer that's running a special right now that we're not going to talk about in this Pulsar review. But if you watch the 2-Minute Tuesday, you will hear about everything going on because there's a lot of specials, a lot of summer deals going on right now. You want to watch every 2-Minute Tuesday. I promise you that. You can find Outdoor Legacy on Facebook, on Instagram, Outdoor Legacy Gear. You can find, obviously, the website, outdoorlegacygear.com. Ashley are the salesmen. You can find them on Instagram at ROWETX. That's ROWEETX. And all this information, y'all, is in the description of the video where you can find all of us on our socials. You can find them on Facebook, and you can find me on Instagram and YouTube, Hans ETX. Jason?
Man, you turned into Micro Machine Man there at the end, but you got it all done. Guys, we appreciate you. Sorry for going along, but hey, when we're this excited about a scope and there's this much to say, it's new technology. We don't want to cut you short and knock 10 minutes off of it just to hit a shorter time period. We want to give you all the info that we can. And again, if you're still confused, you got questions, Hans told you where to call. Between now and next week, we hope to see y'all here next week. But between now and then, y'all stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.